Hello, it's Alex. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's video is a bit of a catch-up. I've got a couple of garments that I've made to show you. I've got a discount code coming for a sewing pattern. I've bought a couple of sewing related things that aren't fabric or patterns to show you. Yeah, so a bit of a roundup. Like I suspect lots of people, those of us who are in parts of the world where it's the summer, we tend not to sew quite as much as we do in the winter. It's a fairly typical thing. I have definitely slowed down my sewing, and I wouldn't say that I've lost my sojo as such. It's more that there are other things that I feel I should be doing, especially when the weather is good. You sort of feel that you should be outside rather than inside. So I've really found myself in the last week or two focusing on things that are quick and easy. So that means a sewing pattern that has been quick and easy, and sewing things that are old friends, you know, patterns that you've sewn before, so you know you've not got to worry about fit or any unexpected controversial construction methods or anything like that. This has worked well for me. It is of course raining. This is Manchester, it's always raining. So when it's raining, I feel like it's okay to scuttle back in here and do a bit of what I love doing best. So with that in mind, I wanted to show you this t-shirt pattern. It's from Tammy Handmade, and this part of the video is in collaboration with Tammy Handmade, and it's this that I'm going to have a discount code for you in a sec. It's the Naya T-shirt. This is a version, I've made two. This is a version that I've made here, and it is one of those patterns that is super quick and easy to make, and at the same time a really core garment in your wardrobe. There's no point making something super quick and easy that actually you're not really going to make. But I think at this time of year, t-shirts are perfect. And for those of us that do live in rainy parts of the world, I find this weather really annoying because it's still warm, but when it rains, you kind of don't really know what to be wearing. And I end up in jeans and t-shirt, which is exactly what I'm doing today. No, I did not make the jeans. So I do find that this is a really good, quick and easy. I think it's taken me about an hour. It's a great one because it comes in a really good size range. I think it goes up to a size 30 or 32. Not a hip measurement in there, but there's a bust measurement which is 50 inches. Can't remember what that is in centimetres, and that's the pattern measurement, not the finished garment measurement. So it's a really good size range. It's got a grown on sleeve, and then it has a really nice sleeve cuff, and it's one of those that's going to look completely different depending on which type of fabric you go for. Obviously it's a t-shirt, it needs to be a knit fabric, but I think you could use pretty much any knit fabric that you have because it's got a really nice wide neck, not got to worry too much, you know, it's not like a tight fitting neck that you've got to worry about getting on over you if you've got something with limited stretch. And I have to say, there's a really nice version that Tammy has made. I'll put an image, which is striped. I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't find any striped jersey in my stash, because what she's done with that, although the stripes go in one direction, I can't remember which way, probably that way, on the cuff she's gone in the opposite direction. Now I really like messing around with stripes like that, so I think my next one might be a striped one. But yeah, super easy. And also, if you are somebody that has not made anything out of stretch fabric before and you're a little bit nervous about it, it's also a great one for that because, as I say, it's pretty quick and easy. But she also has a video tutorial. She's got her own YouTube channel, and I will put a link to it actually, because maybe having a look at, you know, for somebody not as experienced with knits, maybe having a look at her tutorial might encourage you and help you to realise that actually knits aren't as scary as you think. You don't need an overlocker. You can do it just with a zigzag. I did do the majority of mine on the overlocker. The only thing I didn't do was just on the hem, a bit of twin needling. Needling? You know what I mean. And super adaptable as well. This is it in its standard length, and I am 5'7". I find this length to work really nicely. I've got enough in there that if I do want to tuck it in, possibly if I knew I was only going to tuck, I might add a little bit to the length, but in this particular super drapey fabric, it's, you know, tucking it in is not a problem. I bought this for twopence halfpenny. I don't know, it was certainly less than £3 a metre. At Longsight Market on one of my shopping trips with Gemma, who is the hammy dressmaker. I'm pretty sure that Jem bought the fabric as well, because who doesn't like a dotty fabric? Yeah, so really wanted to show you it. Now, as I said, there is a discount code, and it is not difficult to remember. It is Alex Judge Sews, and that gives you 15% off, and that runs until September. The other thing that's great about it is that it's a good one for using up those kind of weird oddments of fabric that you sometimes get left. You know, sometimes you end up with those weird narrow bits down the edge of a fabric. I made a size 10, which size-wise was bang on for my bust, and as usual for me, if I went just by the listing, by the pattern measurements, my waist was, I think, about 6 centimetres wider than the specified waist for a size 10. But because it's a super boxy fit, and because she provides the finished garment measurements, I could see that there was plenty of ease in there, and I mean, I'm not worried about that at all. But yeah, great for using up scraps. And the other thing that was really handy was that to print it out at home on A4, and I am not one of those weird people who likes putting together PDF patterns, I will always send out to Fabuloso if I can to get it printed. But this one was only 7 pages, so even I can stomach 7 pages of cutting and sticking. Okay, quick change, because I wanted to show you the other thing that I've made, and that is the old friend, the tried and true. I knew it was going to work really well, and that is a pair of the trouser part of the Saguaro set from the Friday Pattern Company. I found that it's something I was missing in my wardrobe. I was ideally looking for a pair of brown linen pants or trousers. That's what I wanted to make, and I couldn't find. I had a real urge. I'm sure, am I the only person that this happens to, where you get absolutely obsessed about a particular colour or a particular fabric, and then of course you can't find it? And I really wanted a pair of brown linen trousers, wide leg, loose fitting, for when I was travelling, when I went on holiday. It wasn't to be. But while I was on the beach, do you think I might be a bit obsessed about sewing? While I was on the beach, I saw this brown double gauze from, I think it was Rainbow Fabrics, and I ordered it. Yeah, I do think it's bonkers that I was lying, you know, in paradise ordering fabric. But yeah, so I've made these out of double gauze, and I absolutely love them. I have made myself the full set in a really beautiful teal double gauze last year, and I also made a black double gauze full set for my oldest daughter, and she wears it all the time. So it's been a really successful pattern. I made exactly the same size as I made last year, which is a size L, a large. Comes together so easily, and although yes, it's a little bit more complex than making a t-shirt, it's still for me something that a pattern that I know well, and that I knew for me and my ability wouldn't take me too long to make, and I think that is definitely the way to go at this time of year. So I'm super pleased with it. And then I was also pleased, I'd like to say this was by design, but it isn't. I made myself another Naya T-shirt to go with it, and you might recognise this fabric because I recently made that fibre mood dress with the back and the gathering at the back. So yeah, this was literally sort of a weird offcut that I was able to utilise, and I cropped it, and I didn't crop it on the pattern for the Naya. There is a cropped marking, and I didn't crop it quite as much as that. I think I maybe did a couple of centimetres longer, and I'd like to say that, yeah, that this was supposed to work so beautifully with this. But actually, I'm really pleased with where it's hitting me, because just day to day, I'm not flashing tummy, which is not something I would want to do. Unless I was, you know, reaching up like that, by and large, I'd feel completely confident and happy milling around like this without feeling, yeah, in any way uncomfortable. So, but yeah, not design, it was just fortuitous. But yeah, so this is that same t-shirt, but this is more like a cotton jersey. So it's a little boxier, not as drapey, but yeah, still nice and easy to make. But the only problem I have with these Saguaro trousers is that the ties, so it has pockets, hooray, yeah, and it has this really nice wide elasticated waistband, and it has got quite a bit of fullness in there, which is perfect, isn't it? And especially for those of us whose size goes up and down. Yeah, and you know, you might be eating a lovely outdoor barbecue or something, but in the middle you kind of create a channel in the middle of that waistband, and there is a tie, and for some reason my tie is really short. I've tied little knots in the end, and I keep losing it. It's gone again. Keep losing it inside. And I didn't have that with my last pair that I made, so I don't know. I suspect that's me. Maybe the waist tie was one where you cut on the fold and I didn't do that. I suspect it, well, it's definitely user error because, sorry, I'm just going to fish it out. Come on, where are you? No, it's gone too far. I'm going to have to dig in that with a safety pin. These, by the way, are, what did he call them? I can't remember. I'll put it in the description box below. They're a medical tool that the late, great David Page Coffin, who was the expert on sewing shirts, he recommends that you get one of these. It's like a clamp. You can clip it onto your fabric, and then, can you hear that? Maybe not. It literally clamps on, and you can turn things and pull through. And he recommended it for turning the points of collars. But I cannot tell you how many times, and it works brilliantly for turning collar points. I have lots of different methods I use for getting sharp corners on collars. Tell me if you're interested in knowing those, because if you are, I might do a little video on it. But anyway, they're just invaluable. They come in handy for all sorts of just minor little things, but including fishing out stray ties. Yeah, love these. So that's what I've been sewing. And then, as I said, I bought a couple of things that were sort of sewing related, but neither fabric nor patterns. And from a company that I hadn't seen before, I have no affiliation to or anything like that. They're called Annonymous, and what I bought was some labels. They're so tiny, I'll insert some pictures. I've got quite a collection of sewing labels. I pin them up on my notice board over there. I find that works really well. But the one thing I found is that they are all quite novelty in their vibe. There's lots of slogans. They often tend to be bright and vibrant, and that all has its place, of course. But sometimes if I'm making something that feels a little bit more sophisticated, I don't really want a very kind of bright, hey, 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 sewing label in it. I wanted something a bit more sophisticated, and I'd actually got to the point where I thought, shall I just design something for myself? But good news, I don't need to. Somebody's already done it. And what's really nice, so I bought a little selection. What's really nice is that they do like a pick and mix situation. So you don't have to buy a pack of 6 of the same one. You can choose how many you want, and then you can do a pick and mix, and you choose, you know, I'll have 2 of this and 3 of that or whatever. And I really liked that as well. And then, of course, because I had found a new to me website, while I was on the So Anonymous site, I had a little look at their fabric. I did buy some fabric, which is in the pile to be pre-washed. And I then bought myself a little necklace. It's a So Dainty acrylic. Looks like gold. You know, I'm a gold jewellery person rather than a silver jewellery person. But I think they maybe do it in silver as well. I can't remember. But yeah, look, it's, again, do you know what? I'll insert a picture, it'll be better. But yeah, little scissors on a gold chain. It's about, I don't know, 3 centimetres, 4 centimetres. So it's, you know, quite noticeable. It's not, I've got something else with scissors on, but they're so small and discreet, you know, they're almost not worth having. But I really like this. And because it's acrylic, it wasn't particularly expensive. I can't remember how much though. Yeah, so it's worth checking out. As I say, I don't know them from Adam, but I always like to have a new find, so I thought you might too. You have not worn it yet. I've been waiting to show you, so now I can put it on. So that is everything I've done up until now, except I've got a work in progress that I was planning to show you. I thought it would be finished, and it didn't quite go to plan. Do you remember I bought this fabric, that's all that's left of it, from Bornella Fabrics a little while ago. It's pretty bold and vibrant. My mistake was actually, I only bought 1.5 meters of it. I probably had something in mind at the time, and I can't remember what on earth that was. So I really wanted to make it, you know, make something with it soonish while we've still got relatively, stop playing with my hair, while we've still got relatively good weather, because otherwise I know what happens. If I don't use it this season, it's going to go to the horrible world of sitting in my fabric stash, you know, going dusty. But yeah, 1.5 meters was a bit tricky. I thought that it would make a really nice sundress, something like the Stylark Ariana sundress, I think it's called, and there's a McCalls pattern I've made that's very similar, that's one of those numbers. I'll put an image up. But I think the Stylark one needed 1.75 meters, and I really did try, but I couldn't get it to work, so I decided not to run the risk of messing it all up, and I just made a bog standard gathered skirt. So I literally just divided the fabric into 2 lengthwise, cut a waistband. I left a little bit of fabric so that I could cut a waistband and some pocket bags, and I literally just gathered onto the waistband. You can see it's pretty tightly gathered, and then I did a little kind of folded over at the centre front and button up rather than a side zip or a back zip or anything. I wanted button up at the front, and the centre front, 10 centimetres either side of the centre front, is flat, which I think I made a skirt before where it was flat and then gathered, and I liked how that looked. So no pattern or anything, I literally just winged it, and it was working brilliantly, and I've tried it on, really like how it looks. It's a little bit shorter than I've been wearing recently, but I quite like it like that. But stupid me, I must have not measured the waist properly, and it's a little bit too big. And you know, when something, you know, at first you think, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be all right, but actually no, it's too big. So my project this week is to just unpick the waistband at the front. Oh, those buttons are a bit tight. I'm just gonna, unpick this front section here on both sides, and then take in that flat fronted section. I might just fold it over again and reconstruct it. Really annoying because I've done the buttons and the buttonholes. You would think that having, you know, been sewing for, how old's Ruby? 24 next month. 24 years. That I would have learned to fit the blooming thing before putting buttons and buttonholes on. I mean, am I the only idiot that does things like this? Yeah, I mean, this is page 1 stuff. I should know by now. Anyway, clearly I haven't learned. So there, that's this week's job. But again, you see, I think that's quite a nice little job. If the weather improves, I can sit out in the garden while I'm unpicking that, and then just pop in here. It won't take too long to redo that. And then I'll have myself a nice skirt. And what I was thinking of doing is seeing if I've got some jersey in my stash that's in one of these colours, hoping I might have a purple, and then make another Naya T-shirt to go with. All the ideas, not so good on the execution. Other than altering the skirt, I don't really know what I'm going to be making in the next little while. So if any of you got ideas for other patterns that you've seen and that you found that are great for kind of quick and dirty sewing, please let me know in the comments, because that's definitely my vibe at the moment. I will be back really soon. Don't forget the discount code for 15% off the Naya top or t-shirt, which is Alex Judge Sews, basically my channel name. And I will be back very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Other than altering the skirt, I don't really know what I'm going to be making in the next little while. So if any of you got ideas for other patterns that you've seen and that you found that are great for kind of quick and dirty sewing, please let me know in the comments, because that's definitely my vibe at the moment. I will be back really soon. Don't forget the discount code for 15% off the Naya top or t-shirt, which is Alex Judge Sews, basically my channel name. And I will be back very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.